I'm Haley Lott, and I am here to change your mind about your mind. Let me just stop you before there's any type of brain explosion. But the intention of this video is to support you in getting out of your mind and recognizing that your power is so much greater than that. When I was introduced to this idea many years ago, it was really one of the first books that let me take a step back from the thoughts in my mind that really weren't working for me. At this time, I was diagnosed with clinical depression, and I was a teenager and really struggling to be able to support my own mental wellness. So I needed support. I will be providing resources below for therapists, and if you need any type of support at all, I'll be giving you all the resources that I can, because I am not a licensed therapist or counselor, but I would like to share my experience with you to hopefully support you in recognizing that you can get through whatever you're going through. So when I was diagnosed with clinical depression, I remember feeling so attached to my emotions. I believed every single thought that went through my head, and there was no separation between me and my thoughts. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you just 3 basic techniques and practices really to start opening your mind to the fact that there is so much more than the loop of thoughts that goes on in your mind, and that it is possible for you to start retraining your brain and to start creating the thoughts that feel good, that start creating the emotions that feel good, that start creating the actions that feel good, so you can truly be your most powerful self. Because honey, we have one life. We have one life, and you are here for a reason. And I hope that this video will remind you, just get you to see a little glimpse of that sparkle that's inside of you and get you in touch with your innate power. Because if you can operate from that place, that space inside of you, imagine all that you can create. Okay, so let's get to my 3 favorite practices. The first practice that I'll ask you to do is to recognize that you are not your thoughts, that there's a separation between the thoughts that are going on in your mind and you. So this is kind of an interesting, weird, strange, different, maybe familiar topic to you. But when I was first introduced to this, like I said, it was many years ago, and it was actually through a book called The Untethered Soul. I highly recommend it if you're especially new to this mental wellness space and you're looking to grow, expand, and claim a little bit of your power back. Highly recommend this book. And he gives an example of the book of starting to recognize the voice that's going on in your mind and the separation between you and this voice. So the practice is going into your shower, and some of us say that their best ideas come into the shower, which is beautiful. And you can start to notice that voice that's going on. You might not be present actually with the shower experience of feeling the soap on your skin, feeling the temperature of the water. You might be going into a more automatic state, which it's supportive to have these automatic states, these patterns that our subconscious goes through unconsciously, because it makes life easier and our brains don't have to work as hard. The invitation is in those moments to recognize that there's a voice going on even when you start to bring awareness into your breath. There's a voice still going on even when you're starting to notice the temperature of the water on your skin. And this is important because you can start that separation, like I mentioned. You can start to recognize that this voice in your mind might always be going on, but that your true power is deeper than that. Your true power, it's almost this indescribable feeling that I can access in meditation, and there's probably moments where you've actually accessed it too, right? It's when you're completely present with whatever activity that might be. It might not be meditation for you. Maybe it's walking outside. Maybe it's being with your family. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's dancing, drawing. Think of that. thing that it is easy for you to get present with. And then that voice starts to subside. So this is also the little meditation hive that a lot of people talk about, is that we can access this deeper part of ourself, this truly infinite part of ourself in our meditation. And if you're interested in meditations, definitely check out some of the links that I have below. Some of my favorite meditations I've linked in this video, and just give yourself a little treat. But this is the first step, is recognizing that this voice in your head is not you. And that behind this voice, deeper than this voice, is your infinite worthiness, value, power. And the second step I'm going to ask you to do is, once you notice the separation between your thoughts, this voice, and you, to start listening to the thoughts that are going on in your mind. And I want you to do this because as you start to listen to the thoughts in your mind, you might start to notice why you're feeling a certain way, why life has been kind of taking you down this path. Because when our brains are unmanaged, when our minds are going on and on without us giving support, love, care, direction, guidance, our minds can run wild, right? Especially when we first start meditating, a lot of people are like, dang, I can't believe that all of this is going on in my mind. And I'm also really happy that no one else can hear what's going on in this really wild mind of mine. And so as you start to notice the voices that are going on in your mind and what the emotional tone of the voice is, the patterns, the thoughts that are being repeated in your mind, this will give you more information of where you get to support yourself. So if you have this thought of like judgment, right? Or pressure that you put on yourself to create more, to do more, to be more, to whatever more, then you can start really pouring on the love, the compassion, the kindness, and reminding yourself that you're enough, honey. As you are enough. So this is where I really get to work on myself, is reminding myself that it's not what I do that makes up my value, but it's who I am, and that the power inside of me, my value, my inherent value, I'm born with it, as are you. And I was just speaking to a friend about this, that we grew up, especially here in the US, of putting our value in the money we make, the things we do, what we create. And it helps me to remind myself that this is the culture, this is the way, but I can choose differently. And so I hope that you get to choose differently too, and remind yourself that your value is not in what you do, is not in these external things, but it's here. And that is that separation that I have been speaking of. In this third and final practice for today, you get to start loving up on you. You get to start loving up on you. And that's going to be different for each of us. But when you start to recognize the thoughts and the patterns that are repeated over and over and over again in that sweet little mind of yours, you get to start figuring out where the softness and the compassion gets to move, and really what's the most supportive thing. And this is such a specific and unique practice to each of you. And I invite you to start to get curious about where you get to love up on you a little bit more. And ways that you can do this is maybe writing down the thoughts that are repeated in your mind, and noticing that, ooh, okay, I get to give myself a lot of support in my career, or I get to give myself a lot of compassion in my relationships. I get to remind myself that I am a bad boss lady and whatever that might be for you, so you can start creating thoughts that feel good. I will have a part 2 of this video that will go a little bit deeper, taking this to the next step of creating thoughts that feel supportive and loving and compassion and kindness, because I know that this is kind of like, okay, well, she's telling me to love myself, but how? So just wait for that video. And for now, something I like to remind you, my little pro tip, is to really start slow with this. I remember when I was first introduced to thought work, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have all the thoughts. I'm gonna write down all these beautiful things and my mind will be changed. And you know, you gotta love me for having the excitement and the enthusiasm. And you might be like, I'm gonna do the same. But really where it was most supportive for me to go is to start slow and start with one compassionate thought. So a thought that I'm working on right now that I'm practicing is really being able to see the gift in every situation. So I easily see the gift in every situation. And when I mean one thought, I mean one thought. I practice it as many times a day as I can. And for probably this thought is going to take me a few weeks to really anchor in for me to start noticing that shift. So make sure you start small, make sure you start with softness, with compassion, and that is all for today. So I hope you learned a little bit about your mind and really how you can take your power back when you separate yourself from your thoughts, when you start noticing the patterns that are there, and when you start giving yourself, pouring yourself, filling yourself up with deep love and compassion, because you are so worthy. If you're interested in getting extra support, you can check out my website below for ways to work with me. I have a lot of different offerings, and I just really want to support you because I feel you. You know, life is so much sweeter when we're doing it together. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more videos just like this. I also have a ton of meditations that you can check out below and some resources if you need some extra support. Also, let me know what you thought of this video. Is this something that you're familiar with, something that you're new to? I just want to connect with you. So let me know what you thought, and I hope to practice with you. I hope to be with you. I hope to connect with you again soon. Thank you so much for being here.